Rabotai, welcome back to another class on Dalad Amot shel Halacha. En lo lakadosh baruch hu be'olamo ela arba'a amot shel Halacha bilvad. We are starting a new Halacha today in Siman Reish Ein Aleph in Halacha Gimel. That's Siman 271 for Halacha number 3. So we're going to do the Halacha today in Tide with the whole Mishnah Berurah for that Halacha. As usual, what we're trying to do is trying to do the whole Halacha so we are able to cover more ground. Now, this is the Halacha in the Shulchan Aruch, which I went ahead and I broke it up, and I'll show you why. Let me read for you the Halacha, and then we'll come back over here and I'll show you how I was able to try to simplify it in order for us to be able to understand what the Halacha is speaking about. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Ein Aleph in Halacha Gimel states, Im en yadom maseged, if a person is not able to attain, if a person is not able to afford, liknot yain likiddush, if a person is not able to afford to buy wine for kiddush, ulahachin tzarchei suda, and to prepare the needs for the meal, lichvod halayla, for the honor of Shabbat, v'lechvod hayom, and for the honor of the day, u'lekiddush hayom, and for the kiddush of the day. What should he do? Mutav sheiknei yain lekiddush halayla. It is better that he should buy wine for the kiddush of the night, mima sheyachin tzarchei suda u'mima sheiknei yain lekiddush hayom, from going ahead and buying the needs for the meal, or from going ahead and buying the wine for the kiddush of the day. And this that was taught in the Baraita, kavod yom kodem kavod lechod halayla. This that was taught in the Baraita, that the honor of the day comes prior to the honor of the night. Hainu davka b'shar tzarchei suda. That specifically when it comes to the other needs of the meal. Aval im en yilo elakos echad lekiddush. But if he only has one cup of wine for kiddush, kvod layla kodem lechod hayom. The honor of the night precedes the honor of the day. Rabotai, that's the halacha. How much of that did we understand? Maybe a little bit, maybe almost nothing. And I want to show you what I try to do over here. And after we do it, you're going to better understand the halacha. It's very, very important. When you're learning halacha, make sure you write it down. Make sure you break it up, okay? So I made this chart over here. All right, so this is the halacha. In Siman 271, halacha number 3. So this is the whole halacha in the Shulchan Aruch. But what I did is I broke it up, and I want to show you how you're going to read it. Now you have to remember, unfortunately, I was in Israel with my wife, and unfortunately, we saw so many people that need help. I mean, people were coming up and asking for donations, and they're not even able to make the ends meet. It's not Rabotai, chas v'shalom. I mean, we're going to learn this halacha. You're going to say, how is it applicable to you? But this halacha is very, very much practical for those people that are less fortunate. So, what are we dealing over here? Let me just tell you outside. What happens if a person has only enough money to buy wine? Now, when I say wine, I mean enough wine for either Friday night, Shabbos night, or either for Shabbat morning. What comes first? And this is what we're going to try to see today. Now, before we do that, I want to break down something very important. Whenever it says over here, lechvod layla, let's make it blue, right? V'lechvod hayom, let's make this pink, whatever. Here, I want to show you something. Whenever we're speaking about lechvod layla or lechvod hayom, we're dealing over there with other foods other than bread and wine. Whenever you see over here, ulahachin tzarchei suda, you need to prepare the things that are required for the meal, for the honor of the night of Shabbat, or for the honor of the day of Shabbat, meaning for either Friday night or Saturday morning. Whenever you see the language kavod halayla v'lechvod hayom, you need to understand we are dealing with other delicacies that should be on the table. For example, salads, fish, meat, I don't know, anything else, sushi could be jerky, cakes, it doesn't matter. Anything that is not bread and wine, we're going to put it under the umbrella of l'chvod halayla or l'chvod hayom. Alright, so I just want you guys to have that in mind, because you're going to see how this whole halacha plays a very big role, understanding what category of food falls under where. So there is okay, so let's put it like this. Number one, you have wine. Number two, you have bread. Number three, you have all the other things that are after the bread. Salads, fish, meat, soup, whatever we eat. So whenever we say l'chvod halayla v'l'chvod hayom, we are speaking about the number three aspect of all other foods but bread and wine. It could also be whiskey, for example. It could be whiskey. A person can have, I don't know, somebody brought him a nice champagne bottle, a nice cognac bottle, I don't know. So all these halachot rabotai we're going to see as we go along. I just want to break this down. So watch this. Whenever the halacha says over here, im en yadom maseged liknot, what happens if a person is not able to attain to buy? Let's say, rabotai, I'm just going to give I'm going to give an example. Let's say, let me see over here. Here, let's put it like, just rabotai, I'm going to have to, I don't know. Let's just do this. Let's say a person only has $10 to spend. Rabotai, just watch this example. He only has $10. With that $10, he can go buy wine. He can go buy bread. He can go buy other foods for Shabbat. What takes precedence? What are you going to buy with that $10? Now, rabotai, you just see, unfortunately, to what extent people can live. As I was in Israel, somebody came up to me, whatever it was, I had to raise the money immediately for him because he was like in the red. He showed me his account. It was minus. It was scary to see. So immediately we had to work out a plan to somehow help him out, to come take him out from that situation. But then he told me something about a family member of his that they're paying him around 800 shekel a month. And now they're married. 800 shekel a month, I'm assuming if we divide it by around 3.25, 3.5, right? That's how much each, dollar corresponds to those shekels over there. What are we looking at? $250 to $300? That's a month. That's what they're getting a month? A month, rabotai? How can he survive? Again, in that situation, also, Baruch Hashem, I had to make a few phone calls, and we were able to put the boy on his feet because sitting and learning, why not help them, right? But, rabotai, these situations do arise. They do arise. People, unfortunately, don't have money. Now, so he says, let's say like this, rabotai. What happens if a person only has $10? And here we go. With that $10, he can only buy yain l'kiddush. He can only buy wine for kiddush for Friday night. He can buy yain l'kiddush for Friday night. With that $10, that's all he can buy. Or he's able to go ahead with that $10. He's able to go ahead and prepare the things which are required for the meal, l'chvod halayla. Or he's going to go ahead and he's going to be able to spend the $10 on other delicacies for the Friday night meal. Again, it's not bread. Or another situation, or maybe he can go and he can use that $10 to buy food or other delicacies for the Shabbat morning meal. Or he's able to go ahead and he's able to buy with those $10 kiddush for Shabbat morning. Now, rabotai, I broke this down like that in order to make it more relatable, in order for us to be able to understand the halacha better. Alright, so let's read it like this. If a person is only able to afford, he's only able to buy yain l'kiddush, or he's able to prepare delicacies for the meal, for the honor of Shabbat, or for the honor of the day, or for the kiddush, what comes first? What is he buying? Is he buying the wine for Friday night? Or is he buying the delicacies for Friday night? Or is he buying the delicacies for Shabbat morning? Or is he buying the kiddush for Shabbat morning? What is he buying? Says the Shulchan Aruch, Mutav sheyikneh yain lekiddush halayla. The first case, right over here. This right here. It is better that he go ahead if he has an option to only spend $10. We're going to tell you it is better that you're going to go ahead and you're going to purchase wine. That's what he's telling us right here. Mutav sheyikneh yain lekiddush halayla. Mima sheyachin tzarchei haseuda or mima sheyikneh yain lekiddush hayom. From that he's going to go ahead and he's going to buy the needs for the meal, or from what he's going to go ahead and he's going to buy for the kiddush of the day. So comes the Shulchan Aruch and he tells you right away, if a person only has $10 and with that $10 he's only able to buy one of these things, we're going to tell you buy wine for Friday night and don't worry about the meal for Friday night. Don't worry about the meal for the Shabbat morning, and you don't even have to worry about the kiddush for the Shabbat day. So then the Shulchan Aruch says, 1 second, but wasn't it taught in the Baraita? Very important, Rabbi. This is very important. Kavod yom kodem l'chvod halayla. Here we go. The Baraita states that the honor of the day precedes the honor of the night. Remember what I said over here on top. Whenever we speak right over here, Rabbi, let me see something. Let me make it bigger 1 second. Here. Rabotai, whenever it says over here, whenever it says over here to prepare the needs of Shabbat for the meal, for the honor of Friday night, or for the honor of Shabbat morning, the Baraita clearly states, Kavod yom kodem l'chvod halayla, that the honor of the day precedes the honor of the night. Now, Rabotai, why is this important to know? I'm going to explain to you right now. Give me 1 second. This comes first. Kavod Yom comes first. Now, I want to put it to you like this. What happens if somebody gave you, I'm going to have to make it a limited type of food, because if you could have it for both meals, so use it for both meals, make your Shabbat a delight. But what happens if somebody gave you, let's say a person gave you, they have these vodka bottles, these small vodka bottles. You make one shot and it's done. Or somebody gave you a bag of jerky, or somebody brought you a salad, or somebody brought you a type of meat. Doesn't matter. Now you have an option to eat it on Friday night versus Saturday morning. When do you have to eat that food? Or better yet, when should that food be eaten? Should it be eaten on Friday night, Shabbat night, or should it be eaten Shabbat morning? The Baraita teaches us that l'chvod hayom, it comes before kvod halayla. You're not allowed to eat that food on Friday night. We're going to see the Mishnah is going to say that majority of the people, a lot of people, ba'avonotenu harabim, in our great many sins, we do just the opposite. All the good stuff we leave ourselves for Friday night, Shabbat morning we minimize on what we eat. Rabotai, that's a problem. So we're going to see that. So that's what he's telling us over here. And this that was taught in the Baraita, Kvod Yom Kodem L'chvod halayla, because now the Gemara is saying it doesn't make sense. The Shulchan Aruch is bringing down the Gemara, says it doesn't make sense. How can you tell me I should go ahead and I should buy the wine for Shabbat night, for Friday night? But the Baraita clearly says, Kavod Yom Kodem L'chvod halayla. The halacha is, the rule is, day precedes the night. So maybe I should have bought the wine for the morning of Shabbat. So the Shulchan Aruch says, no. This rule of Kavod Yom Kodem L'chvod halayla, Hainu Davka B'sha'ar Tzarchei Seuda. That is specifically when it comes to the other things which are required for the meal. Other foods. Not when it comes to wine. Aval, however, im en lo elo kos echad lekiddush. But if all you have is 1 cup of Kiddush, kavod laila kodem l'chod hayom. When it comes to Kiddush, night takes precedence over the day. But when it comes to other foods, day takes precedence over the night. Okay, Rabotai, so that was a halacha. That was a halacha. So let's do this. If you guys have that good down, everything else is going to be simple from here. He says like this. Im in yadom maseged, right? The Shulchan Aruch stated in Siman Reish Ayin Aleph and Halacha Gimel. Rabotai, somebody asked me, Rabbi, why do you keep on repeating the Simanim? You see it, you know it. Correct. You see it, you know it. The more you repeat it, the more you do Chazara, the more you're going to remember the Simanim. Im in yadom maseged. If a person is not able to afford to buy wine for Kiddush, look how it makes sense now, and to prepare the needs of the meal, for the honor of the night, and also for the honor of the day, and also for the Kiddush of the day, meaning to have wine for Shabbat morning. What should you do? It is better that you acquire wine for the Kiddush of the night. From preparing the foods which are required for the meal, or from buying wine for the Kiddush of the day. So clearly we see over here, Yain comes first. The Shulchan Aruch says, 1 second. The time this that was taught in the bright, this that was taught in the bright that the day precedes the night. So how can you tell me over here that I should buy wine for the Friday night? Maybe I should go ahead and buy wine for Saturday morning. So he says, this is what it was taught in the Braita, that the honor of the day is prior to the honor of the night. That's specifically when it comes to other foods of the meal. However, if you are only able to get your hands on 1 cup of wine, Kiddush for Kiddush, kavod laila kodem l'chvod yom. The honor of the night precedes the honor of the day. Okay, Rabotai, so that is that. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Katan Zayin. So we said on top, mutav sheyikneh, right? We said right over here, it is better that you're going to go ahead and you're going to purchase. No. We said mutav sheyikneh yain lekiddush halayla, right? It's better that you acquire wine for the kiddush of the night than buying anything else. So the Mishnah Berurah says why. He explains the reason why. Mutav sheyikneh v'chulu. It's better that you're going to buy wine, etc. Why? The Kiddush hu mitzvat aseh deoraita. Kiddush is a positive commandment of the Torah. Ulahachin tzarchei suda, and to prepare the needs, the food for the meal, hu mitzvat onig midivri Kabbalah. It's a mitzvah of delighting in the Shabbat from the words of the rabbis. Whenever we say Kabbalah, it doesn't mean Kabbalah like we think Arizal. No. Kabbalah means as a tradition that was passed down from one rabbi to the next. So that's what he tells us over here. The Kiddush the Kiddush is a mitzvah aseh from the Torah. But when it comes to preparing the food, which are the needs for the meal, that is a mitzvah of only, that is a mitzvah of delighting in the Shabbat, which is only midivri Kabbalah, which is only from the words of the rabbis as a tradition it was passed down to us. Ukidichtiv, like the pasuk says, Vekarata l'Shabbat onig, and it's a verse that you called the Shabbat a delight. So we see from over here that Kiddush takes precedence. Why? Because Kiddush is from the Torah, and preparing the meal for Shabbat is only from Divrei Kabbalah. It's only as a ואף אגב המצוות עשה של זכור נוכל לקיים בזכרי הדברים של קידוש השבת בלבד. If you guys recall, we spoke about in the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Bed above, we spoke about in the other class, that there's two ways you can fulfill the mitzvah of Kiddush of Shabbat. One is by mentioning with the words in the Shemona Esrei, and one is doing it on the Kiddush of wine. So even though we're telling you right now, you should go ahead and you should buy the wine for the Kiddush, because the Kiddush per se is from the Torah, but the Mishnah is telling you like this: even though you are able to remove the Kiddush obligation from a Torah level and make it a rabbinical level, nevertheless, we're going to tell you still, you should do the Kiddush on Friday night on a cup of wine and not with words alone. So watch this. Even though the positive commandment of remembering the Shabbat, I'm able to fulfill the mitzvah by mentioning with the words of the sanctity of the day alone. And on the wine, it moves down the level, and that it only becomes on a rabbinical level. So even though I'm able to do that, like it's written above, in bed, even so in such a situation, since the ikar kiddush hu since when you're looking at the essence of kiddush is from the Torah, gam yain shelo kodem lochol. You're right, I'm able to go ahead and do that. I'm able to fulfill my obligation of zachor et yom HaShabbat lekadsho with words alone. I agree with you. So then what does Kiddush become? It becomes on a rabbinical level. Nevertheless, we're not going to do it. Why aren't we going to do it? Because since the essence of Kiddush is from the Torah, automatically the wine gets dragged after it. And that's what he's telling us over here. Kevan the ikar Kiddush hu min Torah. Since the essence of Kiddush is from the Torah, gam yain shelo kodem l'chol. So too, its wine precedes everything. That's why when we said over here above, what should he go and what should he purchase if all he has is $10? Wine or other things for the night or for the day or for the Kiddush of the day, we're going to tell you you're still going to go with wine. You're still going to go with wine for Friday night. V'yiskima achronim, and the achronim agreed. All this is specifically as long as you have bread for the sake of the night and for the sake of the day. You must have bread, Rabotai. So I wrote it over here also. We're going to see in this Sivkat and Mishnah and Sivkat and Zayin, we're going to see 4 different steps. So number 1 is, all this is specifically when you have bread for both meals. Aval, however, kishe'en lopat, when you don't have bread, mutav sheyikneh lopat, it is better for the $10 that you have, you should go ahead and you should purchase the bread, v'kadesh alav, and go ahead and do kiddush on it. Deha chayav lechopat balayla, because you are obligated to eat bread at night. V'chein lemachar b'yom HaShabbat, because you also have an obligation to eat bread tomorrow on the following day of the Shabbat day. So therefore, when the Shulchan Aruch stated that if you can only go ahead and purchase with the $10 wine or other delicacies for the Friday night meal or for the Shabbat morning meal or for the wine of Shabbat for the day, and we said you should go ahead and you should purchase the wine, all this was stated specifically if you have bread for both meals, for Friday night and for Shabbat morning. But if you're not having bread, meaning you can't afford bread, you didn't buy bread for Shabbat, and all you have is $10, there we're going to tell you, go ahead, buy the bread for both meals, and say Kiddush on the bread, because you have an obligation to go ahead and eat bread in both meals. That's what he's telling us over here. Aval, however, kishe'en lo pat, if you don't have bread, mutav sheikneh lo pat, it is better that you go ahead and you buy bread, v'yikadesh alav, and do the Kiddush on it on Friday night, because you are obligated to eat bread at night, so you're basically, Rabotai, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And so too tomorrow on the day of Shabbat. What happens if a person has for Kiddush of the night? He has wine for the Friday night meal, but he doesn't have for the Kiddush of the day, he doesn't have wine for the Kiddush of the day, and he also doesn't have other food for the honor of the day. What should he purchase? All he has right now is $10. He has Friday night, Shabbat morning. But here we go, Rabotai. Friday night he has a cup of wine. Shabbat morning he doesn't have a cup of wine, and he doesn't have any other food. But he does have bread, because remember, you have to have bread. If you don't have bread, you're buying bread. What's going to be preferable? What action should he take? Is it preferable for him to go out and purchase the kiddush for the day, meaning for Saturday morning? Or are we going to tell him, use the extra money to go ahead and purchase other foods, other delicacies for the Shabbat meal? What are we going to tell him? Comes the Chafetz Chaim and he says, Avde mistaber dechvod hayom adiv mikiddush hayom. Even though logically it makes sense that the honor of the day is better than the kiddush of the day, meaning, even though it makes more logically sense, I should go take that $10 and buy delicacies for Shabbat day, than from buying wine for the kiddush of the day. Mikol makom, nevertheless, efshar is possible, the dailo bepat. It's possible that it's going to be sufficient for him to go ahead and eat bread. Vehamotar, and the rest, whatever money he has left over, yikne lo yain li kiddush hayom. He should go ahead and should purchase wine for the kiddush of the day. He brings this in the name of the Magen Avraham, v'ayin bi'ur halacha. He says, he brings down the name of the Magen Avraham and he says, look into the bi'ur halacha. So Rabotai, before we continue to the next Sif Katan, so watch this, Rabotai. Point number 3 is like this. You have kiddush for the night, but you don't have kiddush for the morning and for the honor of the day, meaning you don't have any other delicacies for the honor of the day. But he has bread, because that's the rule. So therefore, what are we going to tell you? Manage with bread, because it is manageable. And don't buy food for the honor of the day. Rather spend the money on buying wine for the kiddush of the day. Okay, so up to you. I just said over here, Mr. Berur, that's Membet is Mr. Berur Samach. SK is Sif Katan Zayin, which is 7. Fine. Okay. So Rabotai, let's do this one more time inside. So we said on top that a person preferably should go and he should purchase the wine for Friday night. Why? The Kiddush mitzvah ased deoraita, because Kiddush is a positive commandment from the Torah. But when it comes to preparing the needs of the meal, that's a commandment of taking a delight in the Shabbat, which is only from the words of the rabbis. Like it's written, and Hashem called the Shabbat a delight. Even though the positive commandment of Zachor, even though you are able to fulfill the positive commandment of Zachor by mentioning words of Kedusha in the Shemona Esrei alone, and now on the one it moves down a level and only becomes from the rabbis, like it was written above in the Mishnah Berurah Sif Katan Bet. Nevertheless, we're going to tell like this, even so in such a situation, since the main essence of Kiddush is from the Torah, so we're going to tell you the wine is also dragged after it and it precedes everything else. And the Achronim concluded, this whole halacha specifically applies in the situation where he has bread for the night and he has bread for the day. However, if a person does not have bread, it is better that he go buy bread and do kiddush on it at night and eat it, because he's obligated in eating bread at night, and so too he's obligated in eating bread on the following day, on Shabbat day. What happens if a person has a cup of wine for the kiddush of the night, but he doesn't have wine for the kiddush of the day, and he doesn't have other types of food for the honor of the day? What makes sense? What should one go ahead and purchase? Even though it makes more sense that the honor of the day is more preferable than the kiddush of the day, nevertheless, it's possible that it's going to be sufficient for him, it's enough for him to eat the bread, and the extra, and with the extra money, let him go ahead and let him purchase wine for the kiddush of the day. He brought it down the name of the Magen Avraham, Fine. Excuse me. Siv Katan Chet, Yain L'Tzorech Hayom. When it says in the Shulchan Aruch, Yain L'Tzorech Hayom, Hainu L'Tzorech Kiddush Hayom, which means to say, for the Kiddush of the day. Now the Mishnah Berurah is going to explain why do we choose the Kiddush of the night over the Kiddush of the day. Ve'atam, and the reason is, the Kiddush Halala Ikaruhu Midoraita, because the Kiddush of the night, its essence is from the Torah. V'Kiddush Hayom Hu Rak Midrabanan, and the Kiddush of the day is only from the rabbis. So therefore, when you have an option to go ahead and acquire the Kiddush of the night over the Kiddush of the day, you're going to go ahead and you're going to buy wine for the Kiddush of the night because it's from the Torah. And the Kiddush of the day is from the rabbis, like we saw earlier. Continues the Mishnah Berurah, even though at night he's able to say the blessing of the Kiddush on the bread. Ubayom, and on the Shabbat day, when he's not going to have what to do Kiddush with, do you want him to be with our Kiddush? Meaning to say, isn't it better to go ahead and do the Kiddush on Friday night on the bread? So this way he's going to be able to have Kiddush for Saturday morning. Isn't that better? Says the Mishnah Berurah, Mikol Makom, nevertheless, Kevin de b'makom sheyesh yain, since in a place where you have wine and now he has wine, ein mikadshin arifti, you're not allowed to do the Kiddush on the bread. Delilah Adiva, because it is better to go ahead and do the Kiddush on Friday night than doing Kiddush on Saturday morning. Yeah, but 1 second. By me doing Kiddush right now on Friday night, I might be left out without doing Kiddush on Saturday morning. Doesn't matter. Since I have right now wine, it takes precedence over the bread, and night is better than the day. Siv Katan Ted. We said in the Shulchan Aruch, Bish'ar Terechei Suda. If you guys recall, we explained over here. Let me just look at this over here. We said this that I was taught in the Braita, that the honor of the day precedes the honor of the night. That specifically when it comes to other things that have to do with the meal. So comes the Mishnah Berurah, and the Mishnah Berurah tells us over here, Siv Katan Tet, Bish'ar Terechei Suda. Kigon, for example, he says, Sheyesh lo me'at minei begadim. For example, a person has a few delicacies. Tov yoter sheyanicham letzorech seudat hayom. It is better that he's going to leave it for the sake of the meal of the day. Ubesefer yam shel Shlomo, in the Sefer Yam shel Shlomo, koreti gar al she'en nizarim bezeh. He scram a complaint on those people that they're not careful on this. Ve'adrab, just the opposite, Mosefin Belel Shabbat, that they go ahead and they add to the meal of the Friday night meal. Now, Rabotai, you have to understand what we're saying over here. Remember, we started speaking about Kavod Shabbat, Kodem Lechavod, no, Kavod Hayom, Kodem Lechod Halayla. We said that the honor of the day, meaning Saturday morning, has more importance than the honor of the night. And we said that specifically by other foods, which is not wine or bread. So comes the Sefer Yam shel Shlomo, and he says, he scram a complaint. Basically, he's rebuking them on those people that they're not careful in this. And what do? Just the opposite. They increase their delicacies on Friday night, and on Shabbat, whatever, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but it's not like their Friday night meal. Comes the Mishnah Berurah, and he tells you, if you have something which is scarce, if you have only a few of it, you're not able to use it for Friday night and Saturday, what do you have to do? You have to leave it for Saturday morning. And that's what he's telling us over here in Siv Katan Tet. For example, you have a few delicacies, and you can either eat it only on Shabbat, or you can either eat it only on Friday night. Tov yoter she'anichem, it is better that you're going to leave it letzorech seudat hayom, for the morning meal, for the day meal, for Saturday morning, and not use it up on Friday night. Ubesefer Yam shel Shlomo, and in the Sefer Yam shel Shlomo, Koreh Tigar, he called out a complaint, Al she'en nizarim bezeh, on the fact that we're not careful in this halacha. The Adarab, just the opposite, Mosefin Belel Shabbat, we add more delicacies on Shabbat than trying to go ahead and give more honor to Saturday morning. And this, Rabotai, is very important. This halacha is very important. Like I explained earlier in the class, if you have something, you want to leave it for Saturday morning. This is what we're saying here. When it comes to Kavod Shabbat, when it comes to Kavod Hayom and Kavod Halayla, when it comes for the honor of the day versus for the honor of the night, we have to give honor to the day more than we give honor to the night. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to see Siv Kat and Yud when we said Kodem L'Chavod Yom. So we said in the Shulchan Aruch, Aval im en lo elo kos echad. What happens if a person only has 1 cup of wine? Likiddush for Kiddush. Which day takes precedence? Friday night or Saturday morning? So he tells us, Kavod Laila, the honor for the night, Kodem L'Chavod Yom, is prior, it precedes the honor for the day. So comes the Mishnah in Siv Kat and Yud, and he tells us, Kodem L'Chvod Yom, that the wine is prior to the honor of the day, which means to say, Ben Letorchi Su'uda Diyom, whether you have an option to right now buy wine for Friday night, or you have an option to go ahead and buy other delicacies for Shabbat morning, you're gonna buy wine for Friday night, whether that is the situation, Uben likiddush shotzim b'yom, or whether we're dealing with a situation where you have to buy kiddush for Friday night or for Shabbat morning. What am I going to leave the cup for? He's telling you you're going to have to leave it again for Friday night, like we wrote in the beginning of the Seif. So all the Mishnah Berurah is telling us over here like this. Whenever we have the concept of Kavod Halayla Kodem L'Chvod Yom, that the Kiddush is going to get more honor for the night more than it gets during the day, that's whether you're speaking about, whether you're comparing the Kiddush of the night versus the delicacies for the morning, or whether you're dealing with the Kiddush of the night versus the Kiddush of the morning. Always we're going to tell you Friday night Kiddush comes first. And that's what he tells us over here. Kavod Laila Kodem L'Chvod Yom, that the honor of the night precedes the honor of the day when it comes to Kiddush. Which means to say, Ben Letorchi Suda, whether we're dealing with the food of the meal, the Yom of the day, or Ben Lekiddush, or whether we're dealing with the Kiddush, Shosim B'Yom, that they do during the day, always we're going to tell you that Friday night Kiddush takes precedence. Like was written in the beginning of the Siv. Rabotai, let's just do the halacha, and with this we will conclude halacha gimel b'ezrat Hashem b'li neder. In the following class, we'll do the whole review b'li neder in the sever halacha birura. So the Shulchan Aruch stated, excuse me, im en yadom maseged liknot yain. If a person is not able to go ahead and afford to buy wine, likiddush, for the kiddush, ulehachin tzarchei suda lechod halayla, he's not able to prepare food for the meal, for the honor of the night, and also he's not able to go ahead and prepare food for the honor of the day, also he's not able to go ahead and purchase wine for the day, like we explained over here. Right, like we explained over here. If a person only had $10, he can either buy wine for the kiddush for Friday night, or he can prepare the food for Friday night, or he can prepare the food for Shabbat morning, or he can go ahead and buy Kiddush for Shabbat morning. What is he going to do? The Shulchan Aruch says, Mutav shiknei yain lekiddush halayla. It is better that he should go ahead and buy the Kiddush for Friday night. Memash yachin tzarchei suda. From that he's going to go ahead and purchase the food for the meal. Or memash yiknei yain lekiddush hayom. Or from that he's going to go ahead and purchase wine for the Kiddush of the day. Bottom line is, if a person, lo oleinu, Rabotai, has a limited fund to what he's going to purchase for Shabbat, if it's wine versus the night meal, morning meal, or the morning kiddush, we're going to tell you have to go ahead and you have to use that money to purchase wine for Friday night. Then we saw the Shulchan Aruch, we had the time, and this that was taught in the Baraita, Kvod Yom Kodem L'Chvod Laila, that the honor of the day precedes the honor of the night. So if that's the case, maybe you should focus on the morning Shabbat. So he says, no, this rule is specific. That's specific when we're dealing with other delicacies for the meal. It's nothing to do with bread, and it has nothing to do with wine. Aval, however, imin lo ela kosecha. What happens if a person only has 1 cup of wine? Likiddush, to do kiddush. What is he going to use it for? Kavod laila kodem lechod yom. That's what we're telling you over here. That the kavod of the night precedes the kavod of the day. And like we saw in the Mishabur, all this is speaking about specifically where he has bread. Like we gave the rules over here. All this is specifically when you have bread for both meals. But if you have no bread, then you must buy bread because you can do kiddush on the bread and fulfill the obligation of eating bread for both meals. And then we saw what happens if you have kiddush for the night, but you don't have kiddush for the morning and for the honor of the day, but he has bread like we saw. So therefore we're going to tell you, manage with the bread, because you really can, and don't buy food for the honor of the day. Rather spend the money on buying wine for kiddush. Okay, Rabotai, this will be the halacha for halacha gimel be'ezrat Hashem. We will try to do the whole review from the Sefer Halacha Berura in the following class. Have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen ve'amen.